what was Griff's role with the S1Ws and as friend at this time, like in the 87, 88 era? Was he, I never was 100% sure. Was he a S1W? Was he the leader of the S1Ws? Was he just separate? Like, how did that work?
The I gotta clear this up. The um, Professor Griff, the leader of the S1Ws, was a concept that Chuck created. I mean, it's like again, the security of the first world. Now, Unity Force itself, we had 30, 40 members or whatever, just as a security team and just stuff like that, even though we used to do, interact with different people inside of the community. But Chuck wanted the perception of the security of the first world to look like this big old army. So, even though you're just looking at two, sometimes four people, or two most, for a good period of time, four people, he wanted it the perception, like the security of the first world is a big army. It's all, theatrical. And then it's like, Professor Griff is the head of this army, but there's no leader of us. I mean, it's like we were a leader we were a group together. Everybody had endpoints. Whereas as we started, um, like it's because of Griff, I was in Public Enemy. Same with Roger. That was our intro because Griff had that relationship with Hank, and then later on with Chuck. Um, so when Chuck put it was like, okay, we're gonna add these images. You know, Griff, Raj, myself, we were the head of the the Unity Force. So now like the images, like when we like if you look at the Bum Ruster show album, it's myself, Roger, and Griff up there. Um, like we haven't had the contract signed. I had no idea what the hell was going on. We just went took pictures, but the you know the to the world to present a certain image to go along with what the group is trying to project. It's like you had this organization, and then it was supposed to be a military. It's a military style organization. So in military style organization, there's rank and files. Um, but on the on the real side, um, we both, well, all of us, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. Um, you know, started off started off, friends, but then just as and with any family, sometimes you kind of grow apart, and then shit happens. So
Yes. And so that being said, when between It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back and Fear of a Black Planet, Griff leaves the group, kicked out of the group, whatever it actually technically really was. How did that affect you personally? Were you able to sustain your relationship with them outside the group, or was it harder? Or like, how did that work for you as a person, as a friend of his for so long?
it it was um again, it was one of those things where um the put out the group, kicked out the group. That situation is a lot deeper than the the public has been privy to, because yeah, a lot of times you kind of hear either one side of the story or just parts of stories or whatever it is. Um, but the relationship, even before it even got to that point, um, I could, no, I could speak for myself and not speak for anybody else. Um, uh, my relationship with Griff wasn't as, we weren't as tight as, as, um, as we were in the beginning, or even when, as I was as a younger teenage guy. As you grow, you start to see things and understand things, and you know different personalities and all that other stuff. You know what's right and what's wrong. And this is um, um, before anything was said that may have caused that, I'm saying may have caused, but anything that was said that caused some of the external turmoil with the with the with the group. Um, so when the separation came, um, uh, I mean, and to be honest, without going into too much, I mean, it was a situation where one minute he was there, next minute, next minute he was gone. He was, and um, and it had been some time um, that passed before before we had spoken again, because we were on the road, and at the time he was, you know I, we was still I was still living in New York, and he was in Georgia, and some parts, and at some point he was in Florida. So we never our paths didn't really cross. Um, but even with all that, being said, to this day, um, I have nothing but love and respect for for Griff, for for the um, for the impact that he had on my life as a young teenager. For sure, um, my life would have gone in a different direction. Not necessarily. I'm not saying that I was on a path of I wasn't going to be a drug dealer. I wasn't going to jail. I wasn't going to be a robber or nothing like that. A thief or anything like that. Um, uh, but uh, a lot of the positive things that I enjoyed in my life, especially as a young kid, as a young child, growing and growing boy into manhood. It was based on my relationship with Griff. I mean, at one point, I was closer to Griff than I was to my biological brother. So I always respect him for that. I learned a lot from him, good and bad. Um, and you know, you should. I see him today. We'll talk. It's like I don't harbor any bad feelings with him, of course. Um, and then that Griff Griff came back into the group, but when he came back in, we kind of we missed each other. He came in, and I was on my way out.
Right.
Um, One didn't have anything to do with the other, but
Just
um,
timing.
it was timing. It was that way. So, and then of course, during that time, even with my with me not traveling with the group anymore, I always interacted with the group. So it's always times like if I'm out, the group is someplace and I'm there, or if I had to, kind of Chuck called and say, James, can I need you to set this up or whatever? I set something up, and then I see I'm out on the road and I see Griff or whatever. I pass and we see each other and we talk or whatever it is. I mean, that's just this is what it is.